Hi everyone, today we're going to walk you through the SF424 form. This video is hosted by the Office of Innovation Entrepreneurship, so some of the advice given here may only be applicable to our programs. Before you begin the form, you should make sure your organization is up to date with all the pre-application requirements and you have them readily available. Your organization should have an EIN number, a DUNS number, or a UEI number, whichever the application requires, an active SAM registration, and a grants.gov username and password. Predicted timelines to acquire those have been laid out here on the screen. You will also need all the information noted on the last slide to begin your grants.gov workspace. To do that, you'll find the funding opportunity on grants.gov, click apply, and log in, and you'll see the full grant application information. You will use the workspace feature within grants.gov to fill out the SF424 form. We recommend using the workspace for the specific application package versus downloading the form randomly from the internet, as some of the fields within the workspace will come pre-filled for that funding opportunity. For other questions or technical issues navigating grants.gov, check out a list of their resources on their site or contact them directly. Before we get started, it's important to note that all the red boxes indicate a required field. If you do not fill out all of these boxes, your application may not be considered. But let's start at the top. The first box you would default to application unless specified on the NOFO or by an EDA staff member. For the second box, you would default to new. If you're a grantee for this grant in a previous year, you would still click new since this would be a new project year. You would only click continuation box if you're already a grantee and are seeking a no-cost extension or a change to your grant that your program officer has directed you to do this specifically. Number 4 and 5 are easy. Unless directly specified by staff at EDA, then leave the applicant identifier and the federal entity identifier blank. For the federal award identifier, if you checked new in box 2, then leave this blank. Only if you checked continuation above would you put something here and work with your program officer to confirm what that number should be. 6 and 7 are also easy. They are not required fields, so you can just leave them blank. For number 8, just to be clear, the rest of this page here is asking for information about the applicant organization, not an individual person. The legal name means the name of your organization. These are required fields. Your EIN/TIN number are 9-digit numbers assigned to your organization by the IRS. This could take up to 5 weeks lead time if you don't have one, so make sure you confirm this as soon as possible. Your DUNS or UEI number is a different 9-digit global identification number. This can take upwards of a couple of days to get this. These are all required for OIE funding opportunities, so if your organization does not have one, you should apply as soon as possible on the website listed here. Section D. Again, all of this information is for the applicant organization. For the address, make sure you're using a mailing address in which you would like to receive anything via mail related to the funding opportunity. PO boxes are allowed. Section E, this is an optional field, so you can leave it blank if you wish. If you would like to further specify where this project will be homed within the organization, this is the space to do that. For section F, the contact person listed here should be the main point of contact who is responsible for the grant and will oversee the program. If OIE has any questions, this is who the first point of contact will be for the organization. All other information in this section, section F, should pertain to the named individual. For the box titled Organization Affiliation, if the person whose name is listed in section F has a different organizational affiliation than the applicant organization at the top of the form, you can name that here. So for example, if the person responsible for the grant does not work at the applicant organization, you would name that here. If the named person has the same affiliation as the applicant organization, you can rewrite it here or you can just leave it blank. Number 9, this is a drop-down menu that is asking you to name the type of applicant organization. This is very important. I would encourage you to reconfirm your organization's eligibility by referring to the NOFO's eligibility requirements. Make sure you accurately mark this. This is what will be reviewed to determine if your organization meets the eligibility requirement for the funding opportunity. You will see there are other sections below that are highlighted below the one highlighted in red. In boxes labeled type of applicant 2 or 3, these boxes apply to co-applicants. You would list the type of applicant for your co-applicant entity for your co-applicant if you have a co-applicant. Co-applicants may not be a requirement unless directly stated in the NOFO, but they are an option. If you're applying with a co-applicant, this is how we will know that you're applying with a co-applicant, and that will signal reviewers to look for additional required documentation for the co-applicant. Co-applicants do have to fill out their own SF424 form, and on their forms, they would name the primary applicant in this space. To clarify, here's a quick checkbox showing the difference between funded project partners. Keep in mind, co-applicants are seen as equally responsible for program metrics. For Section 10, name of federal agency. This should come pre-populated by the application package, but please confirm this is correct and filled in with the agency in which you're applying for funding to. For OIE grants, it should say Department of Commerce, Economic Development Administration. For Section F, the CFDA number. This should again be pre-populated for the specific funding opportunity, but if not, it can be found on the funding opportunity page on grants.gov. For 12, funding opportunity number. This should be pre-populated. However, the title will likely not be pre-populated. So please copy the title of the grant opportunity from the NOFO or from grants.gov. And just a reminder, this video is very specific to OIE programs. So some of the advice given here may only apply to our programs. For 13, competition ID and title should be pre-populated. 14, areas affected. This should list all areas that your proposed application will affect. Please check the NOFO for specificities on what qualifies as an affected area. Counties should be identified by both name and using the 5-digit FIPS code. See census.gov to find the FIPS code here. For Section 15, this is your organization's title for the project. We would recommend using a descriptive title that tells us a little bit about the project as well. 16 requires you to list congressional districts. Box A is the applicant box, is the congressional district of where the applicant organization named in Section 8 of this form is located. First, Box B, the program project box should contain all the congressional districts for the service areas you noted in Section 14 of this document. The format for this is a 2-character state abbreviation with a dash, 3-character district number. So for example, CA-005 would be used for California's 5th district. If you use an attachment, the box should auto-populate with the attachment name. If not, please put an ellipses in the box. For Section 17, your organization's proposed start date and should follow NOFO guidance. 18. This should show the total project budget, including grant funds, match requirements, co-applicant budgets, etc. Make sure you include your fund for the application. That would be under the federal category. Make sure your budget listed here matches other application requirements, such as the SF424A or the budget narrative. Section 19, the Executive Order 12372 highlights the intergovernmental review of federal programs. The White House puts out the state point of contact, aka SPOC list each year, which names the states who are part of this process. Please check if your state is on the list and select the appropriate checkbox. For Section 20, if your organization is delinquent on debt such as taxes, you will need to note that here and give reasoning. For Section 21, please read this section carefully and certify the accuracy of this form. Your final task of this form is to name an authorized representative and sign it. This section applies to the individual contact information, not the organization. The authorized representative should be a signatory authority for the applicant organization and is someone who is authorized to make institutional decisions. Make sure they sign, and congratulations, you're now done with the SF 424 form.